What if Anne Boleyn didn't stay dead and came back for revenge? I thought this book was going to be a bit ridiculous, to be honest with you, but I was intrigued, so I kept reading. So today in this video I'm talking about The Beheading Game by Rebecca Lehmann. It's a bold and unexpected reimagining of Anne Boleyn's story. And honestly, the premise does sound a bit unbelievable. I have some notes here when I was reading it. I'm sure there's another page somewhere, but hey ho. So I will be sharing my thoughts, my notes, my skepticism, and how the story developed into feeling more like a very powerful revenge story.
I've just got home from work. I work graveyard shifts and it's like 6:30 in the morning, and I need to go to bed, but I wanted to start this vlog now because I look particularly gorgeous because I started this book here. And if you've watched my video that I talked about up and coming historical fiction books that I want to read, this was part of it. And it's called The Beheading Game because actually it starts with a bit of information about Anne and her beheading and stuff. But then Anne wakes up in the arrow chest and feels around going, where am I? And long story short, basically she gets out of the arrow chest, picks up her head and walks around and tries to find her bearings, comes out of the Tower of London and walks around London trying to find a way in which she can sew her head back on. I mean, it's crazy. At first I was thinking, this book, is it not a bit disrespectful to Anne? I don't know, but my curiosity set in, hence why I'm reading it. So I'm just going to do updates as I read along. So that's as far as I've got. She's still finding some seamstress to get a needle and thread. Just, and she's walking along with her sort of head in front of her on, by her chest, and she holds it around like this to look at things. Oh dear, 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 dear. It's an interesting concept that I've never come across, honestly. I've read a book where, I started, let's put it that way, a book where Anne is about to be executed and aliens come down and whisk her up into space and put down like a fake Anne. Can't remember the name. And that fake Anne gets executed and the real Anne goes up to space, and I thought, no, I can't do this. So I didn't read any further. So I've never read a book where Anne actually gets out of her crate to try and sew her head back on for revenge. So, yeah. I'm going to try and read some more during the course of the day, and I will be back with you.
So let's grab the notes. I scribble when I take notes, so bear with. I'll be like, well. Okay, so now she is helped by a lady called Alice, and Alice appears all the way through the book, and she seems a really nice lady. And sometimes Anne treats her in a way that she still thinks she's queen. In her mind, she's still the Queen of England, and sometimes she still gets a bit hoity-toity. And I've written in here, she's spiteful to Alice, her saviour. Anne is written high and mighty, and it's a bit annoying. How can she be so? Anne has been written hot-headed before, and she certainly has been this time as well. With Alice, she wouldn't have survived. Now, I think that's very true. And but there are some points where she goes back into the tower because they need money. She obviously knows where the jewels are, and she gets seen by Thomas Wyatt, I think, and some other people. And they see her and think, it can't be so. And they think she's a ghost. So she kind of gets away with it in that respect. If you're Anne Boleyn, you've had your head chopped off. You've come back alive, sewn your head back on. Would you actually walk back into the tower and go, hi guys, don't ignore me. Hi guys, ignore me. I just want some money. Well, she didn't actually do that. She kind of crept in, but she was seen. I thought that was very dangerous. Yes, they needed money, but I'm sure she didn't have to risk. I mean, come on. What would she have done if she got caught? All they had to. Thing is, she wore this thing around her neck all the time, a scarf. Apparently, it was one of Elizabeth's baby scarves or something. She wore it around her neck all the time. And it didn't really say whether the stitches were still there or whether this kind of magic that brought her back to life. And when she stitched her head back on, this, the stitches went, so she's only left with like a scar. I don't know. I don't recall ever reading that the book addresses how this happened. I guess they didn't want to get into the dynamics of that. I don't know. But, thinking if she got caught, all she had to do was, undo the stitches and her head would fall off again. Or was it just magically got better? I really don't know. I put in here that she walks around still reminding herself that she is a queen. Gets haughty when people speak plainly to her. Alice is taking her to the Fens to get out of London. Alice slapped her around the face, and it was deserved. So the book jumps around from the past to the present future. Oh, and I've put here, why is Jane Seymour always written as simple and plain? But I guess that's a different video. As I said in the top of this video, I kept reading because I wanted to see how this story developed. And without giving spoilers, no, I can't really say anything because that spoils the ending. But something magical does happen, let's put it that way. And it's all to do with her crest that she decided to have. The book is obviously way more longer and involved as I've set it up to be. But it's very difficult not to talk about things because if you are into this type of thing, then you will want to read it and find out for yourself. And as I was reading to the end, I was thinking this is actually a very good revenge story. It's got some fantasy magical elements, I guess. Could I call it historical fiction? I don't know. Was the author just jumping on the Tudor/Anne Boleyn bandwagon and thinking, right, I've got a really good revenge story. I've got it all mapped out in my brain, but I think it's going to be a bit more powerful if I add it to some kind of well-known historical figure. Or, I don't know, did she specifically want to write about Anne Boleyn and then think, okay, perhaps the author was thinking, right, she was treated quite unfairly. So in her brain and in her story, she wanted Anne to get some revenge. I really don't know. I've got such mixed feelings about this book. As you know me, I love to read anything about the Tudors, and I've read some crazy stuff. and I thought this was going to be crazy, but I enjoyed it to a certain extent. My brain was going, but, 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 and then my other part of my brain was going, but this is a fantastic story about a strong woman who had been maligned by this horrible husband and wanted to get her own back. So I think I just need to say, read it and find out for yourself. I'd be interested to see if you have read it or you want to read it. Are you going to read it into the future? Come back to this video and comment and say, look, I agree with you, or whatever. I'd love to know. Anyway, if you enjoy Tudor history with a twist, a revenge-driven story, or a what-if story, I think it was a brave book to write, and I kind of hope it gets a good reception, honestly. Does this kind of book work for you? If you like what you saw, please do come back for more. If you want to become a bookish traveller, then subscribe for more and come along and watch my videos and let's have some fun, bookish fun together. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will be back again with some more bookish goodness. So I'll see you there. Bye.